Hey, I'm Taylor Jones. I'm an intermediate level rider, and I train online at the MotoAcademy.com.
All right, so this is episode 1 of the Moto Academy Podcast. This is the pilot episode. Now, my theory here is that if I talk quietly enough I have a mic right next to my mouth. I'm talking, I can feel the windscreen brushing up against my chin hair. So, if I talk too loud, it's going to blow out. But I think if I use inside voices, the nice soothing voice, you guys should be able to hear me pretty clearly. I'm going to go do 10-minute moto and talk to you about whatever I can think of in that moment. In the future, what I envision is that I'll have talking points on my crossbar pad, and I could just hit whatever hot topics of the week, whatever, and then I can also have a co-host also riding an Alta, and then we could communicate via Cardo systems in the helmet, and then have our GoPros and our audio wired up the same exact way to record the audio, and we could just have a normal podcast conversation as we're riding the Altas. Now, based on my calculations and my very tedious R&D, you guys shouldn't hear much wind, and hopefully not that much bike, because I am on an e-bike after all. I'm going to go Mode 4, I guess. Mode 4 might be a bit much, but the only problem is this bike has a tire that is pretty much the most slippery thing of all time, so I just got to be a little careful. I'm going to try to be nice and consistent. And what is there to talk about? Today is October 3rd, maybe? Just watched a video clip of the Jorge Prado and Hurlings incident yesterday. A lot of debate on that going on. I posted a clip without my opinion because I didn't really want to get in an argument with anybody. And it was pretty interesting seeing everybody's theories, and first of all, how wrong some people are. But then there was a couple of theories that were potentially could be accurate. So if you haven't seen it, go on my Instagram, watch the clip. It's basically a last lap battle between Jorge Prado and Jeffrey Hurlings. You can see Prado's kind of playing defense for the last half of the last lap. Kind of do a little bit of crossing over on the straightaways and stuff, which as a rider that annoys me for sure, but it's racing and it's fine. Now what he did in the finish line I found odd because first of all it was the checkered flag, so if he were cross jumping to play defense, that was no longer a thing because he didn't need to do that. Not to mention, that was a huge jump, so very, very high risk. If he were doing that to play defense, he's got some serious cojones. So basically, while watching, I pretty much took that right off the table as being a possibility, that it was intentional. Now, a couple theories on it being total accident or brain fart. One, I gotta hit this thing. I gotta jump this. It's just so hard to make this corner, damn it. Jeff Emmett commented, he made a good point. He said that the track exit was right after that finish line to the right, so maybe he thought he had enough gap to kind of maybe show a little bit of attitude and just start making his way to the right over to the finish line section or to the track pull off. Possibly, but again, I don't know. I honestly, my theory was that I think he was going to go do a whip to celebrate off to the finish line, because you can see him begin to initiate a little bit of a lean, and then he aborts mission on the lean and kind of goes all rigor mortis and gets really stiff as soon as he takes off and he realizes, oh crap, I probably screwed up by doing this. So now that could also happen in a cross-rut situation, for sure. But based on watching it on TV, there didn't seem to be much of a line there to cause a cross rut, and he looked completely balanced, and the movement that he did, the lean that he did, looked intentional. I know that's hard to describe to somebody. Well, what does an intentional lean versus a not intentional lean look like? I can at least just kind of tell when somebody's composed or when they're not composed and a little bit out of control. So probably just a bit of a brain fart, but regardless, I would not be too happy if I was Hurlings in that situation. Pretty sure he's got the championship lead. That would have just been a silly thing to take him out of it. And their teammates. So, interesting dynamic there. I tell you what, doing this and talking to you guys, a little squirrely, makes you realize the importance of when you go to sit, putting the weight into your feet and not in your butt. Because you guys can hear when I'm exiting these turns and I go to accelerate, you can hear my voice start to get kind of like a little choppy. The more weight I put into my feet, the less that'll happen. What are some other hot topics here? We had a bunch of guys going to different bike brands, which is always fun. Jason Anderson, Kawasaki. I think the Husky's so good, it would be interesting to see. I mean, I think going from the Husky to a KTM is a step backwards, but then again, those factory bikes are so good. It's going to be tough to say. I think Anderson's probably got another couple of years in him. And he rides super aggressive and a lot with the rear end as the Tomac. So that bike should technically work. And then you got Tomac going to the Yamaha, which this section's rough here. Which the Yamaha is definitely a front end traction kind of bike, at least set up stock, which is not Tomac's riding style. But I'm sure again that they'll adjust that bike to him nicely. You have Mookie on the Husky, which Malcolm being as good as he is in the whoops, it'd be interesting if it affects Malcolm in the whoops at all, being on a bike that is technically probably a little bit softer, a little bit more flex. But that could be a perfect combination for Malcolm, and how good of a rider he is to have a bike that just is a little bit, I would say, more forgiving. That's why I like the Husky. It is just like such an easy bike to ride. Oh, good God. It's so rough going into this corner. And then on my end, what updates do I have? I tell you what, it's hard. This is gonna take some practice, putting in laps and having train of thought going to hold a legitimate conversation or to have a thought of any type to make sense of it. For myself, let's see. We have the app that just launched in the App Store, so a lot of time spent on that in the last 8 weeks. I am partnering with somebody that I still can't name, hopefully very, very soon. Been playing a lot of a waiting game with that, which is frustrating a little bit, only because I'm so excited for all of it. But I think that partnership, almost lost track, will be pretty game-changing. Because what it will do is it will combine the highest level of racing with the instruction that I offer. So I just think that the value that will create for the end user, first of all, but then also selfishly for like prospective endorsement deals or manufacturer deals in the future for me, I think that it just creates insane value for the manufacturer to have this partnership that I'm creating now, which is, oh, it's so darn exciting. I just want to tell you guys about it already. But it should be any week now. Once those papers are signed, everything's good. We also have the app coming out in the Google Play Store really soon, which will be awesome. This winter I'll be training in Florida, so this should be one of the first winters that since 2014 that I've trained. So that should be fun. Really gonna just do my best to not put any additional expectations on myself while being prepared. That's the key, right? Is going down there for the 4 months that I'm gonna go down there and work my butt off, be able to dedicate time to becoming a good rider again. And then making sure that the key is that I show up to the races and have the same light-minded mindset that I had last year. That combined with the preparation is what will really be the ticket. Starting to get pretty comfortable actually. I'll also be training down there with a couple of very fast guys. Not going to talk too much about who just yet, but that will be a great opportunity for me to train around people that are currently quite a bit faster than me, and be able to have those guys with me every single day will be pretty amazing, honestly. Ooh. A high-level track to ride on every day, climate that is appropriate for training in Supercross and not trying to ride in the snow. And the game plan is to also go to 250. So being on the bike that I feel more confident on, I can ride a little bit harder. That'll be key as well, not to mention a little bit less competition on race day. Again, the key to big time, that was screw up, is to not put pressure on myself, not play the game of, okay, you know, if I don't get top 10, this is a failure, or whatever. It's very easy to go out and do that, especially when you're super prepared. Just gonna try to stay in the moment, enjoy myself. Gonna have some really cool content. The plan is also to almost fill over the front. The plan is to have my new partner in the Moto Academy. Our vlogs will kind of be combined into one, which I think will be super entertaining as well. And I'm going to start bringing you guys weekly podcasts on the Alta and have guest hosts that ride with me. And what I'm going to do is create a track at this property that I'm purchasing in Florida that will be a two-part track. So it'll be double wide. So this track that I'm riding right now is probably 20 feet wide. My track will be 30 to 35 feet, and it'll have two different lanes. One lane, pretty gnarly, whip sections, big jumps, maybe some metal ramps for my riding. And then there will be a lane that runs completely parallel, the same exact track, just right next to it. And it'll be dumbed down, so have some rollers that are easier to hit, smaller tabletops that are forgiving. So I could ride side by side with whoever, any skill level, and we can talk to each other in the helmets back and forth, which will be hilarious. It'll kind of give you guys visually something to watch while also we're having these conversations instead of being in studio. I don't know how long I've been riding for right now, but it feels like a while. That was the first time I put my foot out in the turn this whole time. Right here, the key is to not hit the brakes, because as soon as I do, it just makes it feel way more rough. I hope after all this, the audio sounds good. Let me know in the comments, guys, what you think as far as any feedback on this podcast. How does the audio sound? Too loud? Too quiet? Is the bike too loud? Is the wind too loud? I'm sure I'll be able to tell when I plug in, but let me know what it sounds like on your guys' end. Do I need to talk a little quieter? Is it fine to listen to when my voice is stuttering, or oh, is it a little annoying? Let me know. Daniel's about to come out here on his gas bike, make a bunch of noise. Pretty cool though, this bike is amazing. And this is Supercross suspension on this thing now, so the clunking you're hearing is probably because I'm not going through the stroke at all. Oh, scrub. Alright folks, well, that's the most boring episode 1 of the podcast. Just the test run, just the pilot. There's my freestyle ramp that I just got. It's a little too steep, I think. So we'll play around with that a little bit. Make sure you guys subscribe. All that good stuff. And toodaloo.